Hey, Shalom, Akim, Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Bashim, Kakadash. Double honors to the elders, the apostles, a great millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the whole elect. Those in the gospel, bro, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. It's Akim, Malchalmaa, coming back with another lesson through the Spirit. Just kind of like a little brief commentary, something real quick. Kind of piggybacking off Elder Malchalmaa's video. He picked up this Oxford edition annual study Bible with the Apocrypha. I said he picked it up for about $12, and it's a good read. It's a good find. It's good for edification. And for a while we've been looking for a Bible with the concordance or with the concordance with an Apocrypha that's attached to it, and they've been very hard to find for real. But on the Spirit had him to pick up a particular study Bible with the Apocrypha in it, which myself, I have this Bible here in the brother's King James Study Bible. Very good Bible to have. As you see at the bottom, it gives you a commentary and it gives you some type of synopsis and breakdowns of these particular chapters. Though they go off when it comes to spiritual references and understanding the full extreme of the breakdown, but for the most part, the history is spot on. Because we know Esau has the ability and the tools and the credentials and so forth to dig up the history and put things together. But as far as the spiritual understanding of the breakdowns and the prophecies, he really doesn't understand. Because you go into the book of, Isaiah the 34th chapter about the great destruction upon Idumea. And we're going to go into it. We're going to read a little bit of it. But he acknowledges that that's talking about the war of Armageddon. But yet he's referring to basically the Most High's judgment on Esau as a representation of judgment on the Gentiles. In some cases you can say that, but Esau, Edom, is a particular nation of his own, which he is a Gentile, a natural Gentile. But he tries to equate all the other nations or being symbolically stated that, oh, this is what it's talking about, and it's not. Okay, so, yep, this is the King James Study Bible. I had this for some years. Like I said, it's easy to understand because when you go into certain chapters, they give you a breakdown or they give you an understanding on what the particular verses are talking about. Versus when you go into this, I call it the church Bible. Okay, every brother and their mother that had one of these Bibles, if you went to a Christian church, they passed these out, which is nonetheless still the same thing, but they give you a duty of it at the top of what it's going into, duties of the widows and elders. But when you come to the study Bible, I mean, they break it all down. Abram's return to Bethel, and then it breaks down, and then it goes into the commentary down here. Okay, and it breaks down, which says Sarah was the wife of Abraham and was also his half-sister. Okay, and this is how you get the understanding. Okay, with some of it goes off, but overall, it is on point. Okay, so I wanted to bring out this precept here in 2 Timothy 2. Just to show you why we go through these things and why we dedicate our time to studying and reading and doing stuff that, you know, we should be doing. Some more than others, some less than others, but regardless, we all that's in this faith have some type of studious, how can I say it, some type of ability to study and understand these things, even if we're just watching videos and taking notes and going over the precepts. Okay, certain brothers' study habits are a little different than others because, you know, you got to take in contributing factors like the pollutants, the ADHD, the chemicals, and certain brothers, they just can't really find credence to sit down and really open the book and read it because it can be discouraging based on your comprehension levels. And that's something that you have to pray and fast and ask the Most High to give you patience and understanding and to help you with that particular ailment. Because a lot of us did suffer from that, and certain brothers, they don't even attempt to challenge themselves when it comes to studying because they feel they can't retain it, which can be very discouraging. So, and it's Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement, that may be something that brothers can, you know, send up to the throne of grace to the Most High, you know. Ask the Lord to put a spirit in you to understand things and to be studious and to just want to know things, okay, because it all helps in this walk. Especially when demons like vocab alone comes up scoffing at the men of the Lord. So anyway, let's read it here. This is the book of 2 Timothy 2. And I'm going to start at verses oh shit, 2 and 15. And it says here, I'm gonna try to get it on as best as I could. 2 Timothy 2 and 15. It says, study to show thyself approved unto Yahweh, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, right? So there's no shame of reading and studying and getting into it. So for you brothers out there that may suffer from ADHD or attention deficit disorder, don't be ashamed about that. Just do the best you can. And not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth, and not being ashamed to go into these precepts, not being ashamed to deal in the gospel, not being ashamed to break these things down. Okay? Rightly dividing the word of truth, precept upon precept. Reason why vocab say that we play Hebrew hopscotch. But yet this is the same guy that went into Acts the 2nd chapter and started at verses 7. Okay, the nigga didn't start at verse 1. He went down to verse 7 and started reading from there to try to make a quote-unquote point, which he was off on, by the way. Okay, so anyway, that was just an example. But like if you go into the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter, you go down here, it says the correlation of dreams and visions in Daniel. You see? Now, this breaks it down properly because even us here at Great Millstone, we teach about the head of gold being the Babylonians, the chests of arm and silver being the Medo-Persians, the bronze belly and the bronzes of thigh. The belly and the thighs of bronze being the Greeks, and then you got the Roman Empire, which is the legs of iron and the feet of iron and clay. Okay, that's the Roman Empire, and then it goes down here to the 5th kingdom, which will be the kingdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You see what I'm saying? But it breaks it down because it says a head of fine gold, like a lion with eagle's wings, okay? And then they break it down, which is the Babylonian Empire, okay? That's on point because, see, they compared it. The Lord deals with similitudes according to Hosea, Hosea 12 and 10. The head of fine gold and like a lion with eagle's wings, which represents the Babylonians. That's a similitude there because though they're describing two different particular though they're describing two different images, it's talking about the same thing, if you may understand that. So it says it goes into the chest and arms of silver, and it says like a bear round with 2 horns, which is the Medo-Persian Empire. Okay, belly and thigh of bronze, and then it says like a leopard with 4 wings and 4 heads. Okay, male goat with 1 great horn, 4 horns, and a little horn, which is Greece. Okay, legs of iron, feet of iron and clay. Incomparable beasts with 10 horns and a little horn, which is the Roman Empire, which the revival of the Roman Empire being America, okay, or NATO and the EU, okay, mainly which is spearheaded by the whore, which is America. And then it says a stone that becomes a great mountain. The Messiah and saints receive the kingdom of the Most High. So that's a similitude, but nonetheless, this is on point because this is accurate history, and you can look this up and you can get the history of it. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's good to get a study Bible, because this here, it don't really tell you anything, but when you go into the back, like the definitions and the glossary or the concordance, it breaks it down for the most part. But in the study Bible, it gets more in detail. It gets more detailed, stringent with it. You see? So that's the reason why I like this study Bible, and I encourage every brother that's in the camps to get them one of these, man, to kind of help polish up on the history. Because, I mean, yeah, it's a lot. It's overwhelming. A lot of times, Jake, they don't want to deal with it, but nonetheless, it's good to have an idea on what this stuff is talking about, man, because it helps you with your teaching, and it helps you to bring out lessons, and it helps you to, sit on the highways and the byways, you can bring it out, okay? Now, you go to Isaiah, the 34th chapter, it says the indignation of the Lord. Now, we understand this is going into Esau, Edom, okay, the so-called white man. Now, when you go down here, it says, this section of Isaiah's prophecy, which is Isaiah 34 and 1, 35 and 10, is again apocalyptic in nature, okay, which the apocalypse means to reveal, okay, or you go into the apocrypha, which means to know, so to speak, or the apocrypha going into the revealing, okay. So it says here, apocalyptic in nature, the object of the Most High's wrath will be the nations on the earth and the world. It says here, the prophet depicts a worldwide carnage of the battle of Armageddon, okay, which we know in the book of Revelation, the 16th chapter, that is going into the book of, or the battle of Armageddon, which is the end time, World War III, when the Lord is coming to restore all things and put these heathens under subjection. Okay, it says the battle of Armageddon, when the Most High's indignation and fury are poured out upon all nation, Goyim, which is Gentiles. So great this destruction that mountains should be melted, as the host of heaven should be dissolved, which is going into the nuclear destruction. It says so severe that this devastation, that the atmospheric heaven should be rolled together as a scroll, which is known as a mushroom cloud. Okay, you can look at it, look up mushroom clouds on Google, and they're going to show you the image of a atom bomb or a nuclear bomb being detonated, and it looks like a scroll, known as a mushroom cloud. It says this apocalyptic judgment will be so cataclysmic that it will affect the earth and the atmosphere, and it will usher in the new heavens and the new earth. So that's on point. Okay, so even the scholars acknowledging that Isaiah, the 34th chapter, is going into a future prophecy, man. Okay, which we can get here in the Zondervan's dictionary. Matter of fact, let's look up Esau Edom, because this is a straight up cut on vocab, man. Okay, because he don't seem to come across this. Okay, so look, the Edomites, okay, which prove that the so-called white man is the Edomites because they're ruling in the end time. Okay, and if you go into Isaiah, the 34th chapter, they're acknowledging that this is talking about the end, the war of Armageddon. Now, when you go here, it says, Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as a scene of great future judgments. See notably Isaiah 34 and 5, and 6, Isaiah 63 and 1. Okay, when Yahweh comes, it says, whose thy garments coming from Basra. That's talking about a future time, which proves that the so-called white man is the biblical Edomites. Okay, and the Holy, this is easy. It's easy to understand. But if you don't have the Holy Spirit, then you can miss that, because you will start to make sense of things that don't make sense. You try to go into the Roman-Jewish wars. Oh, well, Esau was done away with. Obadiah having, oh, no. The scholars are even acknowledging it, which the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary was written by Amalekite scholars, man. Okay, it was written by Edomites. Like the scriptures say that his tongue should fall upon his own head. Okay, this is what it's going into, because he's basically exposing what happens to his people. And it says scriptures as the scene of great future judgments. See notably Isaiah 34, which we're going to get into. It says she is the only neighbor of the Israelites who was not given any promise or mercy from Yahweh. Now, repeat this. Isaiah the 34th chapter. Okay, now let's start at verses 5. It says, for my sword should be bathed in heaven, and should come down upon Idumea, upon the people of my curse to judgment. Okay, now you go to here, Idumea is basically a Greek way of saying Edom. You see? Esau gets slick. He don't want to acknowledge it in here, but you can look up Idumea, and it's going to give you the breakdown. It's going to say the nation of Edom. You see what I'm saying? So going down here, let's start here. I think we read that part. It says the day of the Lord's vengeance referred to the battle of Armageddon, Revelation 16 and 16. This is the final devastation of the world that culminates at the end of the tribulation period, which is Jacob's trouble. The day of the Lord, Joel 2 and 2, Zephaniah 1 and 15, Zechariah 14 and 1, Malachi 4 and 5, the time of trouble, Daniel 12 and 1, the time of Jacob's trouble, which is synonymous with the great tribulation. It says Jeremiah 30 and 7, the wrath to come, 1 Thessalonians 1 and 10, the wrath of the Lamb. Revelation 6 and 6 through 17, he's giving you precepts as to how this devil is going to go down, and how this is talking about the second coming of Yahushua. It says Isaiah 34 and 11, the desolation and the population of Idumea, Edom, okay, and this is where he goes off at, is symbolic of God's judgment on the entire Gentile world. Okay, see, he tries to lump everybody under his judgment, because this is his judgment, though the other nations will be judged in this, but ultimately, Esau, this is your doing, man. Okay, now the other nations will be caught up in your judgment. According to 2/3 of our people, they will be. But hey, don't try to put your judgment off on everybody else. Okay, but the whole world is going to be judged because they follow your rulership and your paradigm. You see? So, hey, this is cold-blooded. This man is really exposing himself. It says it's symbolic of God's judgment on the entire world. It says that the population of the world by the Most High's judgment emphasizes the words confusion, emptiness, which are also used in Genesis 12 to describe the earth as an empty void. When he goes off on that, but basically this wraps it up in a nutshell. So like we said, all thy understanding. Matter of fact, let's get this in Proverbs 4, and I'm gonna start at verses 5. It says, get wisdom and get understanding. Okay, forget not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Right, so we have to put time into this. We have to read it, we have to study it, we have to go into things like this. And like I said, it could be overwhelming, but you set yourself a period in time, in a particular time of the day, to say, okay, I'm going to dedicate 30 minutes into going into this, 30 minutes or an hour, 15, 20 minutes, even if it's just reading a chapter a day or looking at videos. Find some time to try to get your understanding up, man. Okay, because this is essential. This is our heritage. And I'm talking to myself, man, because when I first came into the truth, I studied every day, all day, to the point that, man, it was like the Most High, he was like, I wouldn't say he was taking it, but the more I retained, the more I started to forget things. But I realized that the Lord was putting it in my spirit to spread it out over a course of time, because it's like I didn't necessarily forget it, but it came out when it needed to come out. Like the scriptures say, you consume too much honey, you can spit it up. So over the course of years, I just divided my study time into certain periods. Like I'll read videos, and I'll get into read some chapters, and then sometimes I don't read, which I need to read more, like we all should. But it was times that I stopped reading for a minute. I watch videos, I look up shit, and then it was times I would just read. Okay, so each brother is different, but overall it says, forsake her not, and she should preserve thee. Okay, love her, and she should keep thee. Okay, talking about wisdom and understanding. It says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy get understanding. Okay, and exalt her, and she should promote thee, and she should bring thee to honor when thou dost embrace her. So, this is the reason why we need to go into these things. And I mean, they make it easy today because, like I said, versus this Bible, they give you a whole breakdown of wisdom, which this chapter is going into. But in the study Bible, they break down certain increments, like, okay, verses 5 through, let's start 19, goes into the Lord being exalted. So that give you a mindset. If you're speaking on this topic, you would know to go to Isaiah, the 34th chapter, or the 33rd chapter, 5th verse. Okay, and then the sword of the Lord, starting at 35, which proves that Esau, Edom is a sword of the Lord. You see how it works? So, anyway, brothers, just a good example of that, man. Like I said, I'm gonna pick up that Oxford Study Bible with the Apocrypha, the one that Elder Malchalmaa has brought out in this lesson. I think it'd be a good buy for brothers in this thing. I think it will help us with the studies and with bringing His word out, because we at the end, and it's the time that people are gonna start coming up, asking questions, inquiring, looking to be part of the church, man, and miracles are gonna come. So it's good to continue to have our minds fixated on this truth, man. Okay. So anyway, with that, I'm going to close out, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai. And with that, Shalom and a Ball.